So the first 35 minutes were shown off for the new Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and a select amount of people got to watch these first 35 minutes, and they reported on it, and we're here to talk about it.
Yeah. So one of the people that was able to see it was IGN's Matt Purslow, and he basically is saying that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to quote unquote reignite the MCU. He kind of goes into talking about it. There won't be any spoilers. He doesn't spoil anything, but basically just goes into saying it handled the transition into the MCU like very well. You completely buy it. There's things that just within the first 35 minutes that, due to the nature of like variants with the TVA, that you get to see things that people have waited like decades for to see on screen, which is saying a lot. And this is in the first 35
minutes. Yeah.
Also not to mention that Sean Levy has said like, we struggle to find things like 9 minutes of things to show you because we don't want to spoil things. This is the most amount of things that we've ever like had like secrets for a project before put into this movie. There's things that are gonna be making your head explode. So definitely like you're the director, but you're hyping it up a lot, and also like Kevin Feige is pretty much saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Basically going on to talk about how not only is the movie kind of acknowledging the state of the MCU, but like how this is going to be a movie that is also going to like save the MCU, and how that might be a turning point for comic book movies in general, as like this is a commentary on like what is actively happening, because they're actively acknowledging what's going on, and this is just playing into the plot of the outside world, but also in the movie. Right. And he kind of ends it with saying, I walked into the screening of Deadpool and Wolverine's opening act as a jaded former MCU fan who really didn't care about this quote unquote gimmick project. I left with a smile on my face, a need to watch the entire film, and for the first time since Endgame, genuine hope for the future of Marvel.
Good sign.
And I'm already like super excited to see this movie. I don't need it to be like better than Endgame. I don't need it to be like everything that we wanted Multiverse of Madness to be in terms of like cameos and world-changing events. Sure. If it was, that would be crazy and I would love it, but I don't need it to be. But I think it's interesting that he brings up like, is this one movie going to reignite the MCU? And I think the answer is, if it's as good as some people are saying it is, or hoping it is going to be, just based off of these first 35 minutes, which also people saw the first 30 minutes of Lightyear and said, oh my God, that's amazing. And then we got to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's not going to save the MCU. I don't think it's going to fix the MCU, but I do think that if it's really good, you have the possibility of, in a way, reigniting interest, and potentially, if it's to be believed, like this could reignite what is the driving story point to like focus on in the MCU itself.
Yeah.
I don't think one movie can save the MCU. I think it all depends on what ends up happening with like Captain America 4.
For sure.
Which will, and the subsequent movies and TV shows to follow. But if this is like the start of the turnaround, I think there's nothing happier and nothing better that I could hear that somebody's like, I was jaded of comic book movies and I'm like genuinely like, oh my God, I'm excited and I feel like energized about what's going to happen. There's nothing better that I could have heard. And it reminds me of like people when they saw the first Avengers movie were like, I was really jaded about comic movies, and then I saw Avengers and I was like, I was genuinely like had an amazing time.
Interesting that Avengers kind of brought people around to comic book movies, but that's interesting. I won't go there. But
that movie was a cultural moment, and it was incredible. That movie's incredible.
I have a much more positive outlook on it than I used to, so I'll say that. But I never. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I am right there with you though. I think that this will not reignite the MCU, but it will reignite people's interests in the MCU. And I think if they play their cards really carefully and like really plot out what comes next and build upon what you lay down here in July, then I think it could easily like reignite the MCU like this guy is saying. It's not going to be this movie alone. There's going to be some work after this movie that's going to need to happen too. But I think this is a great start. I think the problem with hoping that they make the right steps afterwards is that I know Kevin Feige's still at the helm, but it just feels like there's still so many different individual stories being told and individual like perspectives, and I don't know. It just a lot of the MCU, I guess, as of late, and I think of what a lot of people's critiques are is that it doesn't feel like a coherent universe. Like a lot of things are disconnected, and it just feels like this is a universe for universe's sake. But if we can really tie everything back together again and make this universe have a purpose, then I think this movie has done a great job.
I think that from what we have heard about like Captain America, a lot of that movie is about reforming Avengers. Which
is a good step.
Which is a good step, right?
Yep.
And if we look at, I think it wouldn't seem like it, but I do think that Thunderbolts is going to tie into a larger story at play.
Agree. I think it will too.
And I think Fantastic Four is also tying into like the multiversal aspect. So I genuinely think that they might be
on the right track,
getting things because, but I can't say shit because like, I do remember that when we were like, why are we doing a Thor movie? Like, why are we doing another Thor movie post Endgame? And when we figured out what the premise of it was, like we were like, I mean, I like Thor, but you know, like I don't know how this is going to tie in. I think when people heard that, they were like, how's this going to tie in? We were like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That makes sense. That's going to tie things in, but it didn't really. So like, I can't say shit, but I'm hopeful. You know?
Yes. I think there's a lot of good signs pointing to a reignited interest in the MCU and maybe a turn back to its heyday. I would love to see that. Truly, I would. I would love to see some more quality writing take place as well. And it seems like we're getting some great writing and great directing and stuff and Deadpool and Wolverine. So, it's great news.
I think that there is a high percentage that this is where we get like the X-Men like fully brought in.
Do you think the entirety of the X-Men, like which iteration too? Like the originals?
I think.
Or do you think is a new group?
That I haven't figured out yet.
Yeah,
that I haven't figured it out yet.
3 groups at this point.
Oh well,
because if there was the original or the reboot or another reboot, is what I'm saying.
I would say like they're not going to have the James McAvoy like Michael Fassbender.
That is the least likely
as the ones to like stick around. I think
right.
But it's possible.
I mean, because Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy did kill it. To be honest, like they were great.
Sure, yeah. But like I think that you'd probably want to keep with like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And I also think that people are like dying to see James Marsden as like a really good depiction
a true Cyclops.
Cyclops.
Now, I think the problem is that with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, they are raising up there in age. Like Ian McKellen said, I'm only going to return for like Hunt for Gollum if I'm alive. Yeah. So
Jesus Christ.
Right. So I'm like, maybe it's not the best idea to bring those guys back.
I think they need to like bring in a fresh new bunch. I just don't know if that's happening after this or if it's happening after like an Avengers movie.
I think it might be this one. My prediction is that it would be like a new group would come after Secret Wars, but
I just don't think that Hugh Jackman's sticking around after this one.
It almost sounds like he is though, from things I've heard.
Because he said he has said in the past, like back when he was doing Logan, like I'm getting old. I can't keep doing this like I used to.
But he's had a completely different turnaround
for this.
I'm just saying he's had an incredibly positive experience with this, and one he's like said this is the most, I think, exciting, like or maybe the most excited he's ever been to play Wolverine, and he's making another movie. He's making another movie with
Ryan,
with Ryan Reynolds. That's not even superhero related. So I'm like, I think he wants to stay around these people, and I think he loves this character. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get another appearance. I just don't think we're gonna get another like mainline movie with him in it. Like where he's like a main character.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. One thing before we move off, one of the things that I really hope I see, because I can't imagine, like we might see it with like a new Wolverine, but this would be the perfect movie to do it because we've already established Bruce Banner as like, he's now Smart Hulk. I don't know the next time that we're going to get back to him being like a raging Hulk in a multiversal setting where we could run into variants.
Yeah.
And this is a very angry Wolverine. Mm-hmm. I feel pretty confident that I'm going to get at some point, the same way that like I was really surprised when Juggernaut showed up in Deadpool 2 and like that was a whole thing that had to, we had to take him down. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to get a Hulk versus Wolverine fight.
I'm feeling that too. And there was some, I guess, kind of discussions online about why that was the case. And I don't know if you saw that like Sabretooth versus Wolverine teaser.
I saw just the photo. I didn't know if there was a video.
Oh, yeah, there was a video. Yeah. And so in the video, like there's some dialogue that feels almost like it's cut out from a certain, like another point in the movie and placed in this. And I think like the line was something like, this is the fight people have waited for decades, or it was something like that to effect. And I'm like, we haven't been waiting decades for Sabretooth versus Wolverine. Like this maybe feels like maybe it's more Wolverine versus Hulk.
That would be pretty
amazing.
Awesome.
I would love that, especially if it was like Ed Norton Hulk. That'd be pretty cool.
If it was, it would be cool if it was Ed Norton.
Yeah.
But what if it was Eric Bana's Hulk?
I wouldn't hate it, but I definitely didn't like that movie growing up.
But I liked him as like Bruce Banner, like Hulk. Like the other one was like way too muscular. You know what I mean?
That's fair. And Mark Ruffalo kind of brought it back to him not being muscular. Yeah.
I mean, he was still muscular, but he would like Mark Ruffalo? Mark Ruffalo, like, yeah, his Hulk is muscular. I guess
no. I thought
Ed Norton is like super like veiny and like
yeah. That's what I was. Yeah, like Bruce Banner, like Ed Norton's definitely the most muscular Bruce Banner for sure.
Oh yeah.
I
guess I meant more like his Hulk looks all like veiny and like.
Yeah. True.
But
that's fair. But I don't mind that Hulk design at all. I think it's one of my favorites, to be honest. But yeah. it's all exciting. I'm very excited. This comes out in like 2 weeks or something like that, like a week and a half.
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
That's crazy. I can't believe we're this close. Time has flown.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get to see this one together. That'd be great.
Yeah.